Hi everyone, this is Sifu Marup again with you, and in this video I'm going to not to present you with any lecture because I think it's quite boring, egocentrical. I don't like the idea of calling it a lecture. It's more like me sharing my spontaneous daily thoughts on Hegel, philosophy, and knowledge in general with you. Okay? It's just me improvising as I go along with my thoughts. Okay? Well, I'm gonna try to show you some aspects of Hegel's thought. Okay? Maybe some ways of making the understanding of his thoughts a little bit easier. Okay? For example, I really think that the crux of the matter when it comes to Hegel's thought is, in a way, a well-qualified understanding of the problem of freedom. Yeah, I do think it's the problem of freedom which is at stake when it comes to Hegel. Why? Because he's all the time, Hegel presents us with something. This something turns into its opposite, and then it gets resolved later on, right? But he's all the time dealing with the problem of freedom. Okay, in what sense the problem of freedom? It has to be a very well qualified problem of freedom so that we can understand it. Okay, because let's just take into account the relationship between the one and the other. For Hegel, the one is only possible through the other. But of course, if we just take the other as simply something out there, it doesn't work. It has to be an impossible other so that it can reflect back a kind of self-sufficient immediacy. That's the way we get the one from the other. It has to be an impossible other, okay? And when it reflects back the one, the self-presential entity of the one, it is, of course, the most mystified moment of the whole thing. Okay? That's why we have a duality without dualism with Hegel. We have a duality, but we also do not have a dualism, because it's not about a two-faced entity, because none of the sides is self-sufficient on its own. It is self-sufficient only as a pure presence, as a pure immediate reflection of an impossible other. So we have a purely presupposed other which reflects back the self-present one. Okay, so Hegel is all the time dealing with the problem of freedom. My God, yes, it's free, but it cannot simply be free by its own right. It has to rely on another. But of course, if I go there and see what this other is all about, there's nothing to be found. There's no other there. Because if I were to know this other, it would lose its efficiency. Understand? So Hegel is all the time dealing with dialectics in a very ironic, ridiculous, comical way. That's why Kierkegaard was pretty much right when he conceived Christianity as being comical. In the same way, we can say about dialectics. It's very comical. It's a kind of tragicomical work of love. Hegel's philosophy is, I think, a tragicomical labor of love, because dialectics is pretty much a comical thing. Okay, because once you get to the end of the whole development, Entwicklung, of the dialectical process, what you get is some ridiculous, comical reconciliation. What you get by the end of it is simply a reconciliation of the one and the other. The immediate correspondence of the one impossible one with the impossible other. But since they immediately presuppose one another, they can coexist without any side really existing by its own. So you have a very comical, ridiculous, and absurd duality without dualism with Hegel. It's again a very tragicomical work or labor of love. I do think it is. Okay, so I think this is a very important insight when one tries to understand Hegel. He's all the time underlying his line of thought. He's all the time dealing with the problem of freedom. Okay, so how does the thing becomes free? By reconciling with its own impossibility. It identifies with its own obstacle. That's how a thing transcends itself in Hegel. So it's what is the underlying logic in Hegel is all the time a comical, absurd work of love. Okay, I really do think. Okay, and in this sense, Kierkegaard was right about Hegelian dialectics and about Christianity, because Christ presents itself as a king, but it's a king which reveals itself as a very poor beggar, a mere singular human being among other beings. So in the sense, Christianity is a comical work of love, much in the same way that Hegelian thought is a tragicomical work or labor of love. Okay, I really do think this way. Okay, but there is an X. What's the crux of the matter when it comes to Hegel? It's very difficult to pinpoint exactly what is really at stake with Hegel. Okay, there's a reason. There's no consensus when it comes to Hegel, in the same way that we could find with regard to Kant or even Spinoza. With Hegel, things are always more problematic. I really do think that Hegel's philosophy is at the same time impossible and necessary. Okay, it persists, it comes back, it's traumatic, you deny it, you try to overcome it, to say bad things about it, but then it comes back. Okay, and it's been like this for every thinker after Hegel. Whenever one tries to do away with Hegel, he comes back triumphantly, as if to say, haha, it's not so easy. It's pretty much a difficult task to get rid of me. I'm always here. And this is something that Derrida knew very well. It's not just, the task is not simply to get rid of Hegel. Derrida knew very well that it can be very difficult to overcome Hegel. If you don't do it right, it will come back in a way or another to hunt you back. Okay? So yeah, as I said before, this is not a systematic approach on Hegel's thought. I'm improvising as I go along with my thoughts. Okay? I'm just trying to provide you with spontaneous insights on Hegel, some thoughts that I've been having day after day. Okay, so yeah, let's continue. A very difficult point in Hegel's thought is the what would could call the formal aspect of it. Das formelle, the formal what? The formal aspect of it. Because content for Hegel, if one thinks of Hegel as kind of dialectical relationship between form and content, one gets something, a content, just by sublating form itself. It's the old Hegelian trick. Okay, how do we get something out of nothing? By the self-sublating of nothing itself, or by the self-negating nature of negation itself. One thing gets negated and returns back that which it was negated. Okay, so it's the same procedure. You negate something and it returns back that which it was negated. But that which it was negated is nothing but this return itself, this pure movement of return. And the same goes for being and nothing, the relationship between form and content. Content is just the self-sublating form. It is the pure form. And that's the problem. How does one account for this pure form, das formelle, the formal in Hegel? I think it's the same problem that we have with quantum mechanics. And for example, this notion, this very famous notion called superposition of states. Because it is all about the virtual potentialities of a thing. Okay? How does one particle appear? Or better yet, how does the wave-particle duality work? Okay? It's simply about the collapse of the wave function. No? For a particle to appear, it has to account for all its potential possibilities. It's the superposition idea, right? Which is, of course, connected with the entanglement idea. Okay? So how does it work? How can we understand a thing appearing, relating itself to its virtual potentiality? How did this come to be? Or better yet, how does appearance appear to itself? It's a mystery. I was never really satisfied with the answers given, even by Hegel. I don't think it's really satisfactory. That I don't think he gave really the right answer when it comes to it. How does a thing appear as a thing out of nothing? Oh, but it's just the self-relating negativity. Yeah, but how does it work? What is a negation? How is an appearance as we experience it? How is it possible? We don't know it. Okay, we are just trying to elaborate with words a phenomenological approach, how things appear to us, but we are still dependent on the insufficiency of words. And it's even worse. I don't think it's just an epistemological problem. It's even an ontological one. We don't have the right words because we are trying to articulate the impossible. So, but nonetheless, the impossible is at the same time possible. Things exist. We experience appearances, but we don't know how they are possible. What is a negation? How is a self-relating negativity possible? It's all a damn big mystery, if you ask me. Okay, I really don't know. How does multiplicity work? How does it work? How is superposition possible? How can a virtual potentiality be included into the self-presence of a thing? It's all a big mystery for me. I really don't know. And I definitely am not satisfied by what has been presented by Hegel, by scientists, by quantum physicists. I really am not satisfied with all that. But we do what we can do, right? Okay, this is a very short video, and I think that's all for today. Okay, thanks for watching, and bye bye.